Okay, Peterson, why don't you
Shoot. I introduce myself and then...
Yeah, where you came from and why you're here.
All right. Okay, I'm Peterson Nnajiofor and from University of Metz, where I'm associate professor, what you call Maître de Conférence in France. And I'm from Nigeria, and I'm interested in America, the foreign policy, and especially the way that it touches third world, what we call third world or developing countries, looking at the transnational companies coming from the United States and how they enter markets in emerging markets and developing markets in Asia and Africa. I'm mainly interested in the African part of it, but trying to compare it to other countries. I think I'll leave my colleagues to present themselves and then go. So have
My name is Yuri Stulov. I come from Belarus, and I found the topic of the conference extremely interesting because the United States, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, remained for a certain period of time the only superpower, and the changes which have been observed during the last 20 or so many years are in a number of ways puzzling, and the questions which I hope the conference will address will let us see in a clearer perspective what has been done for the benefit of the world and what has been done for the worse of the world.
Hello, my name is Ahmed Haidi, and I come from Morocco, the northern part of Morocco, where people basically speak Spanish, English, French, and I teach in the University Joseph Fourier, scientific English, and I'm interested in the experience that Morocco is undertaking in the northern part of Morocco, which is the Plan Émergence. And anyway, I discovering many things, and among them that Morocco is true has moved forward. The country is being modernized. There's a lot of hope. There's a fascinating change, and also one of the topic issues also that interests me is the environment. So is the NAFTA agreement is going to have the same effects in that part, or Moroccans are ready to, for example, protect the environment? So I will let Mr. Feeley continue.
Well, I was, the theme of this conference is on ethics and foreign policy, which is an ambiguity, of course. There are many people who believe that foreign policy must be amoral, that it cannot be governed by ethics or morality, that it's clarifying to understand that every nation state operates on self-interest. And then you go into that relationship with that understanding of so-called realpolitik. And so the ethics has no role in foreign policy is one point of view. Another point of view is that people are ethical in the largest sense of the word. That is to say, much of the world's population are religious and subscribe to religious ethics. And even nationalism is a form of duty, of ethical duty as a member of a nation. So another level, the question is, does American foreign policy exploit ethics of other people? Does it exploit religion? Does it exploit nationalism? And if so, to what effect? Have you thought about that? What do you feel about, for example, in Morocco, you have religious ethics that are felt quite strongly for a great
Morocco
population.
has a long tradition, long Sunni Muslim tradition that basically was rooted from Muslim Spain, so there's a strong connection with the history of Spain, and basically people are very tolerant. Although the political transition that has been undertaken is a fascinating step. It has not probably solved the threat of extremism, but there is much hope. There is a lot of hope, and the population is very young. I think 60% of the Moroccan population is probably under the age of 25, you know, they're probably thinking of building a joint future, looking forward to creating jobs. And so as far as religion is concerned, of course there is the Islamist threat, but for the moment the situation seems to be quiet. Right.
And what role does American foreign policy play in that?
Well, I think the Americans are probably very present in Morocco. I still remember when I was a kid, the flour we used to eat was American. so I think the Americans are, there's a base in Morocco. They're present.
And what is the general feeling of people towards Americans?
They probably feel that America is not fair, for example, with the Palestinian issue, but there is no animosity against Americans from the Moroccan people.
And how did the developments in Egypt, Libya,
I beg your pardon?
How did the developments in Libya, Egypt influence Morocco?
It is influencing Morocco, but Morocco was under already a transition, and there is a major step that has been taken is the declaration of the king to modify the constitution and to give more political rights to a prime minister, for example, that could be chosen from an elected party, which is a major step. So it's positive, definitely positive. I'm really looking, I believe it's positive. And Morocco believe in this peaceful transition.
I don't know if I'm coming. I'm looking at, because my own interest lies on the transnational corporations. Yeah. Do you have a lot of American transnational corporations in Morocco? How do you see them, you know, on the what you might call corporate culture side, you know, looking at ethics? Do they have a sort of policy that makes them to...
Actually, it's pretty fresh for the moment, but the transnationals that are in Morocco are basically French. You know, still the big names like Renault and Alcatel, and there is this strong cultural bond with France. As far as Americans, I can't tell for the moment because I'm still just my second year PhD, and this plan émergence is kind of new for the moment. So,
what do you think? How much does economics influence the policies and morality of politics? With all that oil, deposits, gas, and so on, don't those things play an extremely important role in forming the policy of the United States in the area, and on the other hand, the national governments?
In Nigeria.
Maybe I'll come in.
Yeah, because there's no oil in Morocco.
Yeah, okay, Morocco, I think
there's tourism,
you
there's
need
sunshine.
to go up to Algeria or to Libya. But in Nigeria, the transnational corporations, what we've seen up to this point is that these corporations invest, you know, billions of dollars in the oil sector, knowing fully well that the oil sector represents over 95% of the revenue, you know, the federal government revenue in the country. So the sector that represents this big, huge percentage actually determines what the people, you know, what the politics is going to be, you know, coming to the question of politics and governance, what the politicians, what they do, what the laws are actually in the country. And if we look at what is happening recently, well, this is not yet well studied on the academic level. I mentioned it in my thesis, on transnational corporations in Nigeria. But WikiLeaks, some of the documents that came out, got representatives from Shell, the company, saying that they are inside all the government decision-making bodies in Nigeria. That means that there's nothing that could be done inside the country without the oil companies, being present, sort of shaping it one way or the other. And we know that they are mainly shaping it to go on their own side, not to go on the side of the country or the side of the people. So this is where these transnational corporations tend to play a great role. I'm gradually shifting my view from the American transnational corporations and European transnational corporations themselves, playing the roles, and then moving out to see the examples that they gave, if we like, the policies that they, that they made possible, policies that made it possible for the liberalization of the economy, the neoliberals, that brought in IMF and changing the way that the economy functions. These policies are now making it possible for indigenous capitalists. Indigenous capitalists, I'm talking about Nigerians that are now investing, they're making money and investing in the economy. They're choosing lucrative sectors of the economy and investing in those parts of those sectors. So here we see the foreign policy of the United States through the transnational corporations establishing a precedent, an example, a model that is now being followed, being copied by these new, the nascent capitalists that we are seeing. I don't know yet where it's going because the research is still at its beginning, but this is essentially what my talk tomorrow is going to be, be touching, to see how the effect the governance, the policies of the government, evidently is going to touch the people's, ordinary people's lives.
And Yuri, about Minsk is coming out of the shadows of the Soviet Empire, and what is its relationship with the United States foreign policy?
Well, at the moment, almost no relations. The embassy has been reduced to 4 people, and practically very few American companies still stay in Belarus, but this is the result of extremely complicated processes that have been going on not only in Belarus, but also in the neighboring countries, and also the mistakes which American foreign politicians did, for example, in reference to Ukraine. In fact, their direct involvement there triggered off negative feelings, and it is very sad because, on the other hand, there had been times when we had American professors, we had American companies, and they produced a change in the climate. Nowadays, all this is gone.
I don't know if we can compare it to the Russian situation. I had the impression that in Russia, American transnational corporations were able to establish. What made it difficult for them not to do the same thing?
No, Belarus is in a different political situation altogether. Its history is different. In fact, that was one of the mistakes of politicians when they automatically took the Russian model and thought that it would work in Belarus. So took the Ukrainian model and wanted to put it in Belarus. It didn't work. Because there is a problem of mentality, a problem of traditions, and you have to take that into account.
And Yuri, how do you see the future then of cooperation with Russia or?
Well, this is a very painful question because, especially at the moment of the present economic crisis, a lot of people fear that Belarus might lose its independence. Russia will give the money, will introduce its ruble, and then the sovereignty of the country will be gone. And this is not what people would really want. So there are obstacles practically at every corner, and one needs common sense, one needs critical evaluation of the situation in order to find solutions, not just declarations, but solutions.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we saw that. Normal.
Probably he didn't count correctly. That's the young man.
Everybody does something.
No, Christain has got. He's doing the most.